Alright, so hello and welcome. Today I am going to show you how you can create a little maze game in the Adobe Animate CC 2019. So this is what we are going to be doing today, and it's simple as just clicking on the start button. Then the maze like this is going to appear, and my main goal is just go through the maze and don't touch the border. And if I touch the border, I will have to go back to my start and restart the game and then go one more time. And if I don't touch the border, I am going to have an end in here, and if I go to the end, I am going to win the game. So it's pretty simple, it's too much simple, but you can learn a much if you learn how to make something like this, and then you can make your own more complex versions if you want. So yeah, this is it. Okay, so hopefully you are looking forward, and before we start I just want to tell you a few things. So first thing is that we are going to be doing this in HTML5 canvas, and we are going to be using JavaScript. The second thing is that I am going to try to make this code as simple as possible. Okay, we are going to be writing a lot of lines of the code, but sometimes I am going to just copy and paste them because I do not want to make this too complex. Okay, so sometimes there are going to be things where, for example, some loops can be more beneficial, but I am not going to use them. I am going to try to make it very simple. Alright, so now I can start, and I will just choose my width and height of my canvas, and I am going to choose 800 by 800. Make sure that it is HTML5 canvas, and I will just hit create. Okay, so I will zoom out a little bit, and the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to draw my maze. So I will go to the pen tool, and I will choose some color. I can go with blue one like this, for example, and I am going to choose my stroke, and I want this to be, for example, 10 pixels. Okay, and right now I can start to draw. So I will click somewhere here, and with my shift I will go to the right and click like this. Okay, and I am going to hold shift all of the time as I am drawing, and I am going to do something like this and this, and basically I am going to do something like this. Okay, cool. So right now what I am going to do is I am going to duplicate this layer. Okay, so I will go to the layer 1, I will right click, and I will choose duplicate layers. Okay, and the duplicated layers I am going to double click, because if you only click once, you are going to highlight only one part of the maze. So I am going to double click on my maze, and I am going to change the color to the red. Okay, so right now I have one blue maze and one red maze. Okay, and this red is going to be called Lost Game. Okay, because this is going to appear when we lose the game. So lost game, like so. And the bottom one is simply going to be a maze like this. Okay, right now I'm going to create one more layer, and on this layer with my shape I am going to create some button for the start and then button for the end. So I do not want the stroke, and I'm going to choose maybe some, I don't know, green color like this, and I'm going to draw a shape like so in here. Okay, and right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the shape, and I'm going to hit F8, or I will go to the modify and convert to symbol, and I'm going to call this to be start. Make sure that it is movie clip, and I'm going to hit OK. Cool. Right now I'm going to go inside of the movie clip, and I can do it by double click on my movie clip. So right now you can see that we are in the scene in the start. Okay, I will create a new layer in here, and I will create a text, and this text is going to be just simple start. Okay, and then with my arrows I am going to position it approximately to the middle. Okay, and then I will click to the scene, and I am back in my main scene. Cool, and I'm going to rename this layer to be start, like so. Okay, I'm going to create one more layer. Again, I'm going to get a rectangle tool. I will choose maybe, I don't know, blue color like this, and or I can go with some other. I can go with the same as this one. So I will go to the green color, and again the same thing. I will click, I will choose F8 to convert to the symbol. I will call this end. I will go inside, and with my text tool I'm going to change this to the white, and I will just type end. Okay, and I'm going to move it approximately to the middle. Cool. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of my stage, because I do not want this to be white. So I will click on my stage, I will go to this icon, and I will choose some very slight orange color like this. Okay, cool. I will rename this layer to be end, and we are almost ready to start to write some JavaScript. But before, I will go and save my project, so I will hit Ctrl S. I'm going to location where I want to save my project, so I have it in here. I will call it maze, and I will hit save. And the next thing that I want to do is to set my publish location, where my JavaScript and my HTML is going to be published. So I will go to the file, I will go to the publish settings, and here you can go to the output name and click this icon, and right now go to the place where you saved your animate file. You do not need to, but it's good practice. So I will go like this, and here is my animate file, even though you can't see it. And I will create new folder. I will call this index, and I will go inside, and I will hit save this maze.js, like so, and I will hit OK. Cool. So right now what I want to do is we have all of these movie clips. Okay, so we do not have all of them. I need to create a movie clip for my mazes. So I don't know if mazes is the word, but I will double click on the lost maze. I will hit F8. I will call this maze, and I will hit OK. I'm going to hide this temporarily so I can see my blue one. And again, I'm going to double click to highlight everything. I will go to modify convert to symbol or F8, and I will call this just simply maze, and I will hit OK. Maze is already taken. Okay, maze number 2. Okay, and I should have named this to be, I am going to rename this to be lost maze. Okay, like so. Cool. So right now we have these movie clips, and these names that we provided to these movie clips, they are not really important right now. So these names are in the library, but they are not going to be important for this project. Okay. What is going to be important is every time I click on some of my movie clip, you can see that at the top there is this instance name. Okay. And this instance name is going to be something as an ID. Okay, so if any of you have some knowledge about HTML and CSS, you know what the ID is, and this instance name is going to be almost the same as the ID. And basically, we are going to provide a name for every single button or maze or every single graphic that we are going to create, and by this name we are going to be able to change it with the JavaScript later on. So this one, this start, I am going to call this start game. Okay, and one more time I want to emphasize, it has nothing to do with names of the layers, and it has nothing to do with the names in the library of the movie clips. These names of the movie clips, instance names, these names are going to be important. So start game, this one is going to be end game, this one is going to be just maze, and this last one is going to be lost maze. Okay, so I can choose any names that I want, but I want the name like this. Cool. And right now we are ready to start to write some JavaScript. So I will create a new layer, and I will call this layer to be code. Okay, and right now I can go in here and right click and choose actions. Okay, and when I click these actions, this is going to open me this text editor, and I can start to write some code. And we can start immediately. So for example, I want my end button to disappear. Okay, so I can go and type this end game visible is going to be false. Okay, like so. And now if I hit Ctrl Enter and I didn't misspell anything, you can see that my end game button has disappeared. Okay, so I can continue right now. For example, I'm going to duplicate this line of code, so I will hit Ctrl D while I am on the end of the line, like so. It is going to duplicate this line, and now I'm going to change this to lost game. Okay, and I will hit Ctrl Enter, and okay, now I misspelled something, so I will go and click here. I will close this one, and this is not the lost game, it's a lost maze. So you can see that if I don't write it correctly, nothing is going to happen, or you are going to get some error. So I will hit F9, and it's not the lost game, it was lost maze, like so. And now if I hit Ctrl Enter, you can see that it has disappeared, and we have our maze. Okay, and now I can continue. I will hit F9. Okay, you can either right click and choose actions, or you can go on the layer and hit F9. It is going to open this text editor the same way. And now what I can do is one more time duplicate this, and right now I'm going to just type maze. Okay, and again I will hit Ctrl Enter. I'm going to do it many times, and you can see that all of the things except of the start has disappeared. Okay, cool. So I'm going to close this one, and we can continue. And I am going to try to make all of this little game just by using the visibility false and true and changing them and putting some even listeners, but you will see. So first thing that I want to do is add some even listener to this start button, and basically what I want to do is when I click on this start button, my maze and my end button are going to appear. Okay, so how can I do this? I can go and start to type this. Okay, start game, and I want to type add event listener. Okay, and make sure that you are going to spell it exactly that I do, because otherwise it is not going to work. I'm going to provide you with my animate file anyway, but make sure that you are typing it correctly. Okay, so I have this start game, add even listener, and right now I have to choose what kind of even listener I want. I can choose click, mouse over, double click, some scroll, hover, and so on, but I want to click right now. So I will make a parenthesis like this, and I will type click. So this is going to be click event. Now I'm going to use comma, okay, and now after the comma I am going to put some function name, okay. So far we didn't create the function, we are going in a second, but I am going to call it start the game, okay, and this name, it's really up to you. I can call it anything, okay, but start the game is cool for me right now. Fine. And so far what we said is that if I click on the start, this start the game function is going to be called, okay, and right now I'm going to create a function. So the way how I can create the function is just type the function, then type the name of the function, and I'm rather going to copy this so I don't misspell it. So function start game, and I'm going to do it like this, okay, and this space that I created in here, it doesn't make any difference, it's just for me. I can make it as much as I want, if I want, just for your information. And right now I can type something into the function, but before I will do it, I just want to tell you one thing which can be a little bit confusing for the beginning, but hopefully you are going to get it and just use it. When I am outside of the functions, I am using this, okay, and this is just referring to the main object, to the main animate file and so on. But while I'm going to be inside of the function, this is not going to be working, okay, and I need to create some kind of variable for this. So for example, I can go and type var, and this is just arbitrary name. I am going to call it root is equal to this, okay, and now what I can do is type root, and for example maze visible is going to be true, okay, and if I didn't misspell anything, it is going to be working. So I will hit Ctrl Enter, and if I click on the start, you can see that my maze has appeared, okay, but I just want to show you that if I get rid of this line of code, I'm going to comment it like this. If you make 2 slashes like this, it is going to comment out your code, so it is not going to be read by JavaScript, and I will change my root to this, like so. It's not going to be working, okay. So when you are in the function, you need to use your variable like this, okay, and the same thing is outside of the function. I have to use this, I can't use this root, okay. So simple is, when you are outside of the function of any function, use this. When you are inside of the function, use root or whatever name that you choose, okay. So root maze visible is true, and I can also go and create I can copy this one, paste it in here, and just change my this to the root, and right now my maze is going to be visible and my end game is going to be visible. And I can show you when I hit Ctrl Enter that indeed if I click on the start, no, I misspelled something, okay, because I didn't change it to the true. So root end game visible, and I kept it false, but it should be true like this, okay, and now indeed it is going to be working fine. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to adjust this event listener to my maze, okay, because what I want to do is I just want to go through the maze like this, okay. This is like not going to find the path, but it's just rather go through maze and don't touch the border. And I want to create that if you touch the border, you lose your game and you need to start once again. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow from myself this kind of code. So I will hit Ctrl C and I will paste it in here, and I'm going to change start game to the maze. So this maze add even listener, I do not want to have a click, I want to have a mouse over. So I will go to the mouse over, but when I create mouse over I will have to write on the top of my code one additional line, but doesn't matter right now. Mouse over, and I will change the name to the end game, or I can call this you lost game. Okay, it's like optional, this name. But as I said, with mouse over we have to write one additional line. Okay, and I'm going to write it on the top like so, and it is going to be simple as stage.enableMouseOver. Okay, and this is like it wouldn't work without this little line of code. Okay, but don't worry, I'm going to provide you with all of this. So stage enable mouse over, hopefully I spelled this correctly. And now I have this maze add even listener mouse over you lost game, and now I'm going to create a function you lost the game. So function, I'm going to one more time copy this one like so, and what I want to happen when I go to the border of my maze. So first of all, I want to hide my end button, okay? Because when you go in here, I don't want you to be able to go to the finish. So I will just type, and I will borrow some line like this, and I will just change it to root and game visible is false. Okay, like so. And now I will hit Ctrl Enter, and if I click start, my maze and my end are going to be visible. And if I go to my maze, you can see that my end has disappeared. And one more time, if I click on my start, my end is going to appear. And if I go on my border, it is going to disappear. Fine. So we can continue. The next thing that I want when I go to my maze border is I want my red maze to appear. So I will one more time copy my code like this, so I do not need to write it always. I will with my tabulator move it a little bit. I will change this to the root, so root.lostMaze.visible, and I want this to be true. Okay, so again I am going to test, and indeed it is going to appear. Okay, and if I click on the start, my end is going to appear. But what I want also to happen when I click on the start is I want my red to disappear. Okay, even though at the beginning there is not going to be any red maze, it doesn't matter. I am going to adjust to the start that I want my red to disappear. Okay, so I will go back to my start game, and I'm going to take this line of code, I will paste it in here, and I will change this to the false. Okay, so one more time, when I start the game, this is not going to be visible anyway. But it doesn't matter that there is this code, because later on, and again I will test this, if I click start, the maze is going to appear. If I go on the maze, it is going to be, the red is going to appear, but if I one more time click on the start, it is going to disappear. So hopefully this makes sense, and hopefully I didn't confuse you so far. If yes, just take a break, watch it one more time, I don't know, but I am going to continue. Okay, so a few more things that I want to create, and still we are just going to be playing with visibilities, is if I click on the start game, I want my start button to disappear, and then when I lost the game, I want my start to appear one more time. So basically what I am going to do is on the start the game, I am going to duplicate this. I will change this to the start game, and it is going to disappear. And when I am on the lost game, I am going to let this appear like so, true. Okay, and I will hit Ctrl Enter one more time, and now you can see that I will click on the start game, it is going to disappear. If I go in here, it is going to appear again. If I click, it is going to disappear, and so on. Cool. One thing that we can do also is when you lose the game, we can write something in here like you lost the game, go back to the start, or something like that. Okay, so basically I will create a new layer. I will call this to be lost text, and on this layer I am basically going to go to the red color, and on the top I will just draw that you lost, go back to start to restart the game. Okay, something like this, for example. Okay, and I can hit F8, and I can leave this to be symbol 1, it doesn't matter, I will hit OK. And the instance name, I want to call this to be lost text. Okay, and I can go inside, for example, and I can do something like this if I want. You lost, go back to start to restart the game, and for example I can go like this and move it in here. Okay, so right now we are going to have this little issue because initially this is going to be visible because we didn't set it to not be visible. So what we need to do in our code is go to the actions, and on the top where we have this end game visible is false. I am going to get rid of these spaces. I am going to duplicate this last line of the code, and I am going to put there this lost text visible is going to be false. Okay. Then what I want to do is when I lost my game, I want this to be true. Okay, so I will make this true like so. And if I start the game, I want again to be false, because if I lose the game, it is going to appear, and when I click on the start the game, it is going to disappear one more time. Okay, so I will hit Ctrl Enter, and I will click the start. I am going like so, and if I, oh, we made some mistake. Okay, cool. So I am going to check what happened. So lost text. I will click F9. And what happened? Okay, I can see. I copied and paste, but I kept it to be this, and I need to change this to root. And the same thing is in here. Okay, so root. Alright, and now I will hit Ctrl Enter, and it should be working right now. Yes, okay, and now if I click on the start, it is going to disappear. Cool. So at least you can see how sensitive the JavaScript is, and when you create a little mistake like this, it's not going to be working. Fine. Alright, and one of the last things that we are going to do is we are going to adjust some event listener to the end game. I will temporarily hide this layer. So when I go to the end, I want to appear some kind of text that you won. Okay, so I will create new layer. I am going to call this win text. Okay, I'm going to create a shape which is going to be big like so. Okay, I'm going to change the color a little bit to something like this, and I'm going to write the text. I will change the color like so, and the text is going to be congratulations, you won. Okay, and I'm going to make it bigger like this. Okay, and I can, for example, adjust it, align it to the center. Cool. And now I'm going to highlight it like so. I will hit F8, and I'm going to create a symbol. I can call this win text, for example. I will hit OK. But the important name is wait a second. One more time, I did something wrong maybe. So F8 and win text, and I will hit OK. Fine. And now I will change the instance name, and I will call this, for example, winner, something like this. Okay, and now what I want to do is go back to my code. I will hit F9. Initially I want my winner to not be visible, so I will duplicate this, Ctrl D, and I will switch this to the winner. So we have this winner visible is going to be false, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this event listener like so, and right now I want this end game add event listener. I want mouseover, and I want to change this to you won game. Now I'm going to create a function for you won game. So function you won game, and all I want to do in this function is to copy this one. Right now I can't forget to change this to the root like so, and I want to make this to be true. Okay, and I will save. I will hit Ctrl Enter, and hopefully this is going to be working properly. So start. Okay, right now I will try to make it to the end, and indeed it is going to be working. And right now I am not going to be bothering with some restart button or anything like that. I will just refresh and we can continue. Cool. So I will close this one, and I'm going to show you one more thing. Okay, and this is just to make our code a little bit better. For example, you can see that on the top we have all of this. This is not going to be visible, this is not going to be visible, and so on. And this is not in the function. This is just flying around, I can say. But I can put this to the function just to make my code a little bit cleaner. Okay, So for example, what I can do is I can create a function. I can call this function to be init, like initial, but it's just random name. Okay, and I'm going to make a function like this. And right now I'm going to cut everything inside. Okay, but right now this is not going to be working. Okay, because when I create a function in JavaScript, it is not going to do anything. It is just going to store some value and so on. And before I had the functions and I was calling the function but adding some event listener either with click or with mouse over. But when I have a function like this and I just want to immediately call the function, all I need to do is just, after I create the function, just write the name of the function like this, and this is going to call the function. Okay, and if I hit Ctrl Enter, nothing is going to change. Everything is going to be okay. So it is going to change, and let me see why. Okay, and again I made the big mistake, and as I told you, when we are in the function, we can't have this, we have to have root. So I will very quickly to change all of this to the root. Okay, or I could get it out of the function. Sometimes I forget, but what can I do? So right now I will again click Ctrl Enter, and hopefully it's still not working. Why are you not working? Okay, one thing is that this root should be probably on the top, and yeah, so the problem was that my variable wasn't on the top. So right now everything should be working fine indeed. Okay, cool. So you can see that this can be a little bit tricky, and in this video I am not explaining you everything about JavaScript and so on, because there is so many things about this programming language. I just wanted to show you how you can start and to play with very simple stuff like this, and sometimes all you need to do is just to think a little bit, and you can make something simple like this. Okay, but we are not done, and we are not done at all, because there is one issue, and I am going to show you how you can somehow solve this issue. Okay, so if I hit Ctrl Enter one more time, you can see that if I click on the start, that I can go like this. But the problem is that if I click the border, I am going to lost. Okay, like so. But if I go very quickly, I'm not going to lost. Okay, because if I move my mouse very quick, it is not going to be able to detect my mouse. So like this and this, and I can win by cheating. Okay, and I do not want this. Okay, so right now what I want you to do is to save your project one more time. Okay, because I don't want to screw your code. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to go to File, we are going to hit Save As. Okay, and I'm going to create a new folder for tutorial number 2, for example. I will hit save, and also I need to go to my file and publish settings and change my publish settings to the new location. So tutorial number 2, I'm going to make this index, and I will save this and hit OK. So all I did right now is just saved my project to the second place and put my publish location to the same place, because right now, because of these changes, we are going to be changing the code a little bit. Okay, so here is the code, and we need to create some adjustments. But before we will make these adjustments, we need to think of how we can do this. Okay, and one thing for me is that I can create some kind of checkpoints. Okay, so that I can't cheat like this. Okay, and for example, I can create some balls in here, maybe 5 of them, and they are going to be my checkpoints. And if I go to the one checkpoint, my another checkpoint is going to appear, and so on. And by this way, I can make sure that the user is going to go through all of the maze before he will be able to go to the end. Okay, so hopefully you get this. I'm going to create a new layer, and on this new layer I am going to choose some again blue color like this, for example, and I'm going to, or maybe I should choose some other color, maybe something like this. Okay, and I'm going to draw something like this. Okay, cool. And now I'm going to rename the layer to be checkpoints, for example. Okay, and I will click F8 to convert to the symbol. I can call this checkpoint, for example. I will hit OK, and in the instance name I will call this to be check1. Okay, so this is going to be check number 1, and right now I am going to hold Alt and move this, and by this way I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, and this is going to be my check number 2. Okay, like this. And now I'm going to duplicate it one more time, and this is going to be check number 3. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate it even one more time. I'm going to scale it a little bit like so, and this is going to be check number 4. Okay, cool. And right now we can go back to the JavaScript and we can adjust some things. Okay, so first of all, and please don't get confused right now, because I believe that this can be confusing for you, but hopefully it's not going to be. So first thing is that I had this start game button and function start the game, and in here I had this root.endGame.visible is going to be true, but I do not want my endgame visible to be visible right now, so I will get rid of this. Okay, and I am rather going to have my first checkpoint visible when I go to the start game. But the problem is that if I hit Ctrl Enter right now, all of my checkpoints are going to be visible. So what I need to do is create a function. Okay, for example, in here I'm going to call it a function hideCheck. Okay, for example, and what I am going to do is I am going to type root check1 visible is going to be false. Okay, and I am going to duplicate it, and I am going to rename check2, check number 3, and check number 4. And this is the place where I could use loops, but it would be too complex to explain you loops right now, so this can be for another tutorial, for example. Just very simply like this, and right now I am going to call the function. So I will copy this, I will paste it in here, and right now all of my checks, if I didn't misspell anything, they should be gone. Okay, so right now if I click on the start, I am not going to have the end, but what I want to have is I want to have my first checkpoint visible. Okay, so what I can do is I can copy this. root check1 visible false, I can go to the start game, and anywhere in here, it doesn't matter whether you put it on the top or on the bottom, just type or paste root check1 visible, and it is going to be true. Okay, so right now, again, I will test this, whether everything is working. If I click on the start, you can see that my check1 is going to be visible. Cool. So right now, before I will continue, I do not want to get lost in this code, okay? And we have only like 58 line of code, but it can already become a little bit confusing for some of you, even for me, for example. So I am going to just comment out some parts, okay? So if I want to comment one line, I need to make a / like this, and I can type start game, okay? And I can make, for example, something like this, okay? And / and something like this, okay? So it's just for me visually to distinguish between the separate parts of the code, okay? So right now I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it in here, and for example this is going to be my lost game. So I will call this to be lost game, okay? And I'm going to copy this one more time, and this is going to be for the winning, okay? So I'm going to create little space, I'm going to paste it, and this is going to be win game, okay? And for example, I am going to copy it one more time, and this is going to be my checkpoints, okay? So I will just type in here checkpoints like this, okay? Right now what I have is when I go to the start game, my check1 is going to be visible. So probably, maybe you already know what we are going to be doing. We are going to make one more or few more even listeners. So I'm going to type, I'm not going to copy right now, don't confuse. I'm going to this check1 add, I need like this, add event listener, and I want mouse over because we are just going to go through them, and I will call this go check1, for example, okay? I will copy this, Ctrl C, and I will create a function like so. And in this function, what I want to happen is I want my check1 to become invisible. So root check1 visible is going to be false, and root check2 is going to be true. Okay, so the current one, the check1, is going to disappear, and the second one, the check2, is going to appear, okay? And if we made everything properly, and hopefully we did, it is going to be working, okay? So if I click on the start, my first checkpoint is going to appear, and if I go with my mouse, okay, cool. This one is going to disappear, and the second one is going to appear, cool. But right now we have another issue. And it is like, if I go to the maze and I lose the game, my checkpoint is still going to be visible. And if I click on the start, they are both going to be visible, okay? So we need to address this issue, but it is going to be very simple. So I will again hit F9, and I just want to thank everybody who is still watching this video. I really appreciate it because I believe that this might be hard for somebody, but I don't know, maybe you can follow it easily. But right now, what I need to do is on the lost game, so here I have lost game, I want to call the function which is going to hide all of my checkpoints. And it doesn't matter whether I have only first checkpoint visible or the last checkpoint. I just want, when I lost the game, when I go with my mouse on the maze, to hide all of the checkpoints. And I already created the function hideCheck. Okay, so I can just copy this and I will paste it in here, like so. And basically, this means that that function is going to be called when with all of the other stuff, when we go with mouse on the maze. And it doesn't matter that the function is on top and this is on the bottom. It's like, it's not problem right now. Okay, so hopefully I didn't confuse you right now, and thankfully we put this to the function, because otherwise we would have to maybe copy all of this and paste all of this in here. This is also the option how you can make this, okay? But this is not very good way, so you can call a function like this, okay? And now if I hit Ctrl Enter, hopefully again it is going to be working. So yeah, indeed they disappeared, okay, like so. And right now we need to continue. So as I said before, and we are slowly moving to the finish, there are better ways how you can make the code, especially what I am going to do right now, because what I am going to do right now is going to be very simple, and all I am going to do is I am going to copy this, I am going to paste this, and I am going to change that. Right now I want my check2. I am going to change the name of the function to check2. I also need to change this one, so this name and this name need to be the same, and I will just change it to the number 2, and this is going to be to the number 3. Okay, and it's not very good practice to copy and paste your code like this, but it would be really hard to explain you right now how you can do this without copying and pasting. So if some people are going to watch this and there is going to be some requests for more videos, I would really love to create some more complex video on JavaScript topic, but so far I am going to just copy and paste. Right now this is going to be number 3, this is going to be number 3, number 3 is going to be invisible, and number 4 is going to be visible, like so. Okay, I will hit Ctrl Enter to make sure that I made everything correctly, but I believe that yes. So I will hit Start, and I made some mistake. Okay, cool. I can hit F12, which is going to open my inspect element, but I didn't want to bother you with this one. I just wanted to check where I made the mistake so I can see something. So I will go back to my code, and yeah, indeed what I did, or what I forgot to do, is I didn't rename the function, this go check 2. I have to rename this to go check 3. Okay, so right now it should be working. Okay, so start, and like so, and like so, and like so, and this is the last one. Okay, so everything is working fine. And now what I am going to do is I am going to copy only this top line. Okay, this is going to be this check number 4. Okay, and this is going to be go check number 4. Okay, I can call the function like, I can copy the function like this. So go check number 4, and right now I want my root check 4 to not be visible, but we do not have check 5, so I do not want to have this line, but rather I want right now finally to have my end game visible. Okay, so I will type root end game visible to be true. Okay, so I will save, I will hit Ctrl Enter, and if I click on the start and I go like this, my end is going to be visible, and if I didn't make it, I can still lose. So one more time, I can go like this, and now I have won. Okay, cool. So this is it. This is all that I wanted to show you in this tutorial, and hopefully you like this video and you enjoyed it. I will have to show you one more thing, but I will have to cut the video. It is not going to be inside of the Animate, but this is everything that I wanted to show you inside of the Animate. So yeah, as I said, I'm really thankful if you enjoyed this video. If yes, just hit the like. If you are interested in more videos like this, let me know. Subscribe, share it maybe with your friend or with somebody who may be interested in something like this. And yeah, thank you for watching. Okay, so the last thing that I want to mention pretty quickly is that there is a possibility that you are going to have a little issue, okay? And the thing is that when we were in Adobe Animate and we were testing, everything was working fine, at least hopefully. But if I publish my files, and I'm not sure whether I showed you how to do it, but basically when you are in the file and you hit the publish, it is going to publish your HTML and JavaScript inside of this index folder. And if I open this index, there are going to be these files, but the problem is that when I open my index in here and I will try to click on my start, nothing is going to happen. And if I hit F12 for inspect element, I am going to have all of these errors, okay? And the thing is that everything is working fine when we put this on the live website or on the local host, but for some reason this create.js, which is part of the, it's not part of the Adobe Animate but part of the code in the Adobe Animate, is getting some issues, okay? And the solution for this might be, but I'm going to show you very quickly. If you are interested, just try to Google it or check it on the YouTube. But there is this thing called MAMP or VAMP, and this is something to create your own local server, and you can then watch your website or this animate file or this index through this local server. So basically, all you need to do is download either for the Windows or for the Mac. Okay, I'm not going to save it. Then just basically install it. It should be like normal installation, and then there is going to be this application, and all you need to do is I'm going to stop servers, so I am on the same place as you are, okay? And if you go to the preferences and if you go to the web server, you can go to place where you have your index. So in my case it is in here, okay, like so, and I would hit okay. So just basically find your location and hit OK, and then just start servers. And if you start servers, all you need to do is open new tab, type local host, and if you hit enter, there is going to be something like this. And if I open my Maze HTML, everything is going to work the same way as in Adobe Animate. So I'm not really sure whether this local host is going to be working exactly for you as it is for me. I am not expert in that field, but I just wanted to show you that if you are going to have some kind of issue, this MAMP or VAMP might be the solution, and if you want, you can Google it or find some more information about this. So this is it. Thank you one more time for the watching, and that's all. Bye.